It's Hanukkah today. We have just lit our fourth candle. Um, it's going to be the fourth day tomorrow of Hanukkah. And it's an odd Hanukkah. We're in the middle of a war. Families are split as the husbands are away fighting and the women and children are at home. Families are getting together. We are sticking together. Families who have their husbands are inviting those who don't. We're determined to celebrate this holiday and let us recall what this holiday is all about. Uh, you know, Thousands of years ago, the Jews in Israel during the Second Temple period were threatened with a sort of spiritual annihilation. The Syrian Greeks issued a series of decrees preventing the Jews from worshiping in the temple, from keeping the Sabbath, from being Jews in the fullest sense of the word. And at some point, the Maccabees uh, rebelled and led a revolt that led to Jewish independence in the land of Israel during the Second Temple period. And how did they celebrate their victory? They went to the temple. They purified the temple. They threw out the idols that the Syrian Greeks had put there. They purified the temple and they lit the menorah once again. And it is that holiday of lights, that festival of lights, that we celebrate to this very day. And as we say our prayers during this week and add the special prayers where we thank God for the holiday of Hanukkah, for amazing um, the amazing victory of the few over the many, and the victory of being able to rededicate the temple. We add a prayer that God should indeed, we hope and pray that God will bring us a Hanukkah miracle, because we are desperately in need of miracles right now. When I think about the last couple of days and what's going on in Israel today, three pictures come to mind. One is just something that's happening just in these last couple of days. Thousands of Palestinians in Gaza are surrendering to the IDF. Among these people are known Hamas terrorists. They are coming up with weapons, surrendering, laying down their weapons. They're searched, stripped to make sure they do not have weapons or bombs on them. And then they are taken into custody. Those that are found to be innocent civilians are released and encouraged to go south, where Gazan civilians are gathering to get away from the fighting. But amongst these thousands have been many, many hundreds of Hamas terrorists that are being arrested, taken in for questioning, and are also providing valuable information. But it's the picture of that surrender of those Palestinians with men with their hands up in the air that is providing a picture of hope, of optimism, because we see little by little Hamas is breaking down. Some of the people that have been arrested are saying to the Israelis, we have lost our faith in the Hamas leaders. Some of them are saying that they were promised, get this one, they were promised payment for the hostages that they brought, going back to October 7th. These were people that were fighters with Hamas, and they were promised, for every single hostage you bring, you will get paid. And now they're disgruntled and they're upset because Hamas didn't pay them. Now you'll notice they're not feeling morally troubled by what they have done, but what they are seeing is that the winds are changing and that Israel is definitely with the upper hand. And they, on the other hand, are feeling that they're being betrayed by Hamas, by their leadership. And along with that, what we are seeing, and this is also part of the information that these people are providing, but also things that we are seeing, as you know, Israel has been pressured over the past few weeks to enable vast quantities of food, water, and fuel to enter the Gaza Strip. And this is something that is quite controversial, especially for two reasons. Number one, the fuel. Nobody's taking joyrides right now in Gaza. What is the fuel for? The fuel is to enable to the Hamas fighting machine to keep going. It's to fuel their missiles. It's to fuel the air systems in their tunnels. And it is extremely problematic that we are allowing this fuel in, especially since there's been absolutely no way to guarantee that the fuel goes to civilian issues, perhaps hospitals or whatever, not to Hamas. Of course, we have seen Hamas is the hospitals. Hamas runs the hospitals and uses the hospitals as their center of operations. I am not sure really why we're still letting in this fuel other than because of international pressure. The food itself, though, while we are all in agreement that innocent civilians shouldn't die of starvation, of course, we have questioned all along how many innocent civilians are there really in Gaza. But one of the things we are seeing definitely, and we've seen witness to this, we've seen pictures of this, is this food is coming in. It's supposed to be going to United Nations relief agencies to distribute it in a fair way to innocent civilians. Instead, it is being taken by the Hamas, used for their own needs. Some of it is being sold at ridiculous prices to these poor people in Gaza who really are not part of Hamas. But in any case, it is not getting to the civilians it's supposed to get to. And this is something that needs to be remembered as well. So that's the first picture, as I said, was the surrender of thousands. Then there's a second picture that I saw in the last couple of days. In the middle of Gaza City, there is a square that they call Palestine Square. It's a central place. In effect, it's a place where when we saw the pictures of the hostages that were released, many of them were actually transferred over to the Red Cross in that square, and it was where you would see hundreds, if not thousands, of Palestinians, often very violent, yelling and screaming as the cars with the hostages would drive through the square. It was, on the one hand, a frightening image. On the other hand, reminded us that while there had been quite a number of weeks of fighting before the temporary ceasefire, clearly we didn't accomplish enough, because the Hamas and Palestinians were still in this central square, feeling very comfortable there and very much in control. So a few days ago, we were very pleased to see that this square had been completely and totally bulldozed. It now looks like a total field of dirt. And in the middle of it, right where the center, there was a statue there at one point, idolizing, some Palestinian martyr. And instead now, our IDF soldiers have put up an Israeli flag and a menorah. And IDF soldiers lit Hanukkah candles there last week, Thursday night, the first night of Hanukkah, and sang the songs. What an amazing picture. And, if I started out by saying, we are celebrating Hanukkah, we ask God for another miracle. Maybe that's the beginning of such a miracle. But the ability that we have to light our candles and to say, we will not be destroyed. We will not be defeated by these thugs, by these terrorists, by these evil people. And perhaps the light of the menorah is so symbolic of that as well. And finally, if we're talking about the lighting of the menorah, let us remember the families where the husbands, the fathers are away. They're in the army. They're fighting on behalf of all of us to protect us. And how many families I know in my own community, as we drive or walk along the street in the evening, as everybody is gathering in their living rooms or on their porches to light the menorah, the Hanukkah candles. So many families, our mothers and their small children, lighting their candles, and their husbands are somewhere else. And we got a message from one of my sons that indicated that on that night, Thursday night, he was lighting his candles deep in Gaza. And this is moving and frightening for all of us at the same time. And but this is what our Hanukkah is like. We have to remember the miracle of Hanukkah. We have to pray for more miracles now for us as we're fighting in Gaza. And let us remember the families who are the women and the children who are really toughing it out. I tell you something, the women in Israel are one tough breed. And you see that now with these young women running their homes, taking care of their children, and all along living with the worry, what will happen? What I hope my husband is okay, not being able to hear from them when they're in the middle of their fighting. Um, it's difficult. It's a difficult time, and I hope you will pray with us and stay with us and help us in any way you can as we're looking out for these families, keeping them going, as we're looking out for the security and safety of the people in Judea and Samaria, as we're praying for a Hanukkah miracle. Have a good day.